So when I come to a pool in the morning, if I'm the pool manager or I'm the lifeguard opening the pool, these are the 5 areas that I work through in my head and then on the paper as well for documentation. So we're going to go building, then pool deck, water quality, safety, and mechanical. Now, you're going to notice right up front, some people will agree or disagree with this order, right? A lot of mechanical guys will say, well, I start with mechanical first. A lot of lifeguards will say, well, I start with the pool deck first, right? Or different functions. And you as an organization, you will set out for whoever's opening the building what that looks like. We're going to continue to talk about throughout this session. There is obviously different levels of service. The big thing I say with pool operations, though, if you haven't learned this already, is it is a constant beat, like a constant hustle. It's kind of like losing weight, right? It's not yo-yoing, like I'm going to starve myself after having Thanksgiving dinner. It's a constant, everyday bit of work working on the process that's going to ensure that you have the smoothest, best running pool. Maybe it's not every day, maybe it's, every second day, every third day. How you break that work out is going to be up to you as an organization, but you do need to invest the time to have the system work as it should. This graphic I've found really, really helpful to consider in the last few months, especially. There's a lot of things that the customer doesn't see behind the scenes, right? All of the effort that you guys have been putting in, even during the closure, taking care of the pools, advertising to the customers, all of that work is not often visible, and that goes as well for pool operations. Pool operations is this huge underneath the iceberg, right? If we don't have clean water, if we don't have a good pool, we don't have a product, right? And our customers are not going to be happy. We can't have revenue, right? So there is a tendency in organizations in general that the pool operations is kind of shunted off to the side, right? I walk into the building in the morning, I check the phone messages, I check my email, and then I get around to opening up the pool. Pool operations should be the absolute first thing that anybody does. Or if you don't have capacity to do it first thing, you need somebody else on shift or somebody else coming in sooner, because that pool comes first mentality is vital, I think, to success in, not having breakdowns, being prepared, having quick responsiveness times when there's chemical challenges. Okay, so let's start with the building. So I'm coming to work. I'm coming to open the pool. I arrive, let's say, an hour before my shift because I'm new and I need to take my time to methodically go through what I'm doing. So I'm approaching the building from the outside. I am looking at the parking lot. I'm looking at the walkways. Are there things to be swept? Are there things to be shoveled, salted? How does the garbage look? Is there any vandalism I need to take care of? Is the signage on our door or coming into the building, is it correct and accurate today? The laughable thing I see when I visit pools anywhere, doesn't matter if it's Canada or the US pre-COVID, I will walk up to a pool and there will be signage that is 2 weeks old, 2 months old, or the same signage I saw when I visited 2 years ago. Now, notice that I didn't say I'm going to immediately address these things, but I'm making a note that as I come in the door, I'm going to write down, okay, garbage needs to be changed, sweep in parking stall 7, vandalism, need to call insurance, right? I've made a list, but I'm not actually doing it. I'm just making a list for right now. And that's where I think also people don't leave enough time in the morning. They think they only have enough time to make one pass. So if I walk past the garbage, I have to change it now because I'm not going to have time to come back before lessons. That means you need to stretch out or roll back your start, right? Because you should not be starting on the superficial stuff that is not a safety issue. But you want to notice that it's there and that you need to come back to it, or the first junior person coming in 10 minutes later, they can find the to-do list on the counter or in a staff room, a central location, and those items they can address while you're doing other things. So then I've walked into the building and I'm unlocking the doors if it is open for other staff, or I'm relocking them if I'm by myself, early in the morning, late at night. if you have a handicap button or any sort of special quirks on the door. This is another one that drives me crazy is people forget any sort of specialty door buttons, and I will often test them, and people have not um, engaged them because they themselves are privileged enough to walk on 2 feet. They don't have a stroller, they don't have a wheelchair, they don't have a cane, and they don't test that it's actually working. So alarm is off, lights are on, music is on if that's your routine. Other people leave the music off for safety, right? To know if somebody comes into the building. Emergency phone tested. This is an Ontario thing, especially, but a good practice for any pool. You need to know right away if your phone's not working, right? Or whatever phone you use for people to be able to call you that the phone is working. Windows Clean is a new one for me, but I heard a really excellent webinar a few days ago with a lady who is a professor at the retail school at the University of Alberta, which is in Edmonton. She worked for Lululemon for 7 years, and she was explaining how Chip, the founder of Lululemon in BC, he came to visit a shop in Edmonton and he said, "Your windows are dirty." And she explained to Chip, "Well, we only have the budget to have the window washers come every Monday, and it's Edmonton in February. So there's slush and salt and spray on the windows." And he said, "Well, I'm authorizing you to wash the windows every day, or you need to get staff out there with Windex. Windows are the number one conversion of sales, the number one thing that you people judge your property on, whether they come in or not." And it's interesting, ever since I heard that, I notice the dirty mirrors at the yoga studio. I notice the dirty stores that I don't go into, right? It's such a subconscious thing. So windows, I think, are a big thing that we don't even acknowledge, right? But something to consider, right? And then is there heat on in your building? Is it the right temperature that you expect when you walk in?